Farmers and fisher folks told post-disaster relief funds is not compensation for losses. Canadian University recognizes Dr. Gerard Jajak for thesis on IPO Act and plans afoot to relocate displaced people at Roseau Primary School. Welcome to the Channel 5 News. I am Idona John Baptist. Details of these and other stories coming up.
Do you need more cash for that home improvement? Then come to Fast Cash, where we give you more. At Fast Cash, our customers get more funds and more time to repay. But wait, can't come to us? We'll come to you, and our mobile officer will get you on your way. Small businesses, consumers, and taxi owners, Fast Cash has more for everyone. Simply call or visit any of our locations for more, smarter, faster, better. Fast Cash. Terms and conditions apply.
There are signs everywhere. Pay attention whether you're male or female. Visit your health center to get screened. It's a preliminary test to determine if you are exposed to the HIV virus, an STI, or tuberculosis. Some people who are HIV positive also have tuberculosis. But there's hope. Tuberculosis can be cured. And yes, you can live a full life with HIV. Talk to your doctor. Be responsible. Help stop the spread of TB, HIV. Encourage everyone to get tested.
Thanks for staying with us. First up, Permanent Secretary in the Ministry of Agriculture is warning farmers and fisher folks that the financial assistance being given to them is not compensation for their loss suffered from Hurricane Maria. Andrea Louis tells us more.
In January, the ministry announced that an $18 million grant would be distributed to farmers and fisher folk who fall within particular categories to assist with their recovery post-Hurricane Maria. Since the distribution of the funds, which also began in January, the two groups of people set to benefit from the monies have been making numerous complaints about the grant payout, including the amount of money being disbursed. According to the Ministry of Agriculture, $10,000 would be given to those who fall in the category of large commercial farmers and fisher folk, $3,000 each to small commercial farmers and fisher folk, and $1,000 to those who do not fall in either of the categories. Permanent Secretary in the Ministry of Agriculture and Fisheries, Dr. Reginald Thomas, reiterated that the money being given to the farmers and fisher folk is not compensation, but rather a social response to the effects of Hurricane Maria.
It is not compensation. This was never intended to be compensation. So for the farmer to say, I lost, it was not compensation. It was a social response to Hurricane Maria. It was intended to assist people who have lost their livelihoods. So hence all the discussion about people that have alternately employed, it was intended to support the livelihoods, as you may, of these individuals, not compensation. So farmers may decide that I've lost $100,000 and therefore I deserve it. It is not compensation, never intended to be compensation.
Another of the complaints is that some names do not appear on the list of those to benefit from the grant money. Thomas explained that the distribution of money is ongoing and there are factors which may have led to names not being on the list.
Some people were inevitably left out of the reasons we will have to find out. The information that was collected on the ground was put through a database. That database generated a list. Which was actually used for payment. So it wasn't done by hand, it was actually done through the database that was presented. Some people got left out, and we recognized that there would have been mistakes, so we had made contingency for that. One, through the complaint mechanism, but also resources that would cover where mistakes may have happened. There was also another requirement that people would have registered at a particular time. Many farmers who complained did not register as well. So there are a number of things that are happening. We have engaged some individuals when we asked them, did you register? They did not. So of course your name would not show up if you did not register by the time that we recommended. So again, there are a number of misconceptions. There are genuine cases that will be looked at and addressed as we go forward.
Thomas encouraged the farmers and fisher folk to utilize the complaint mechanism for further concerns which they may have regarding the distribution of the grant money. Andrea Louis, Channel 5 News.
In other top developments, the Ministry of Social Services is preparing to have a second tranche of funds paid to beneficiaries of an emergency cash transfer grant. The post-disaster relief program was launched with the help of the World Food Programme and UNICEF to reach 8,300 vulnerable households with single parents and elderly people. Minister for Social Services and Gender Affairs Lady Catherine Daniel says payments are ongoing.
So we as social services, we are doing all we can to help our vulnerable people. With the help of UNICEF and other partners, World Food Programme, who came in, assisted us for cash transfer grant to assist the vulnerable people. This has gone down very well, and people have received, a first tranche has been given, and we are now, in fact, we are doing 2 tranches because we have 2 categories. We have the people who was on the public assistance program, which we call the PAP, and we have the non-PAP, where we are looking at single parent household, the elderly, this type of people.
6,000 vulnerable hurricane-affected children stand to benefit from the program throughout its 3-month duration. Elderly people who were previously receiving monetary aid from the state through its public assistance program would have automatically qualified for the cash transfer grant.
Because they are already in the vulnerable group, so this was easy, so they automatically qualified for this. I think maybe over 2,000 something people in that category received payments already for that.
Okay, so that includes the elderly?
The elderly, yes. Because most of the people that we target under the public assistance program are these people. The elderly people forms the greater part of our clients.
In more news, a doctoral thesis on a social network analysis of the evolution of the Integrity in Public Office Act has earned political scientist Dr. Gerard Jajak 2 honors from the Université Laval of Canada. The acting permanent secretary in the office of the Prime Minister was recognized by the university's Department of Political Science for producing the top doctoral thesis for the 2016-2017 academic period. The other recognition was for being among the top 6 doctoral graduates of 2017 in the university's Faculty of Social Sciences. Dr. Jajak says his observations and recommendations about the IPO Act in his thesis would not have any bearing on his role in the office of the Prime Minister.
If it had a bearing, I don't think we'd have the IPO still with it, because my position is very clear, has been very clear on the IPO. No, I don't think it has. I don't think it's my thesis per se. I think the connection between that whole doctoral experience is the analytical skills that I would have developed, that therefore make my presence here maybe worth a while. I've said before, I'm not a fan of the IPO. I can tell that straight off. I've said so before. I'll continue to say so. But as a law-abiding citizen and a public officer, I will comply. And I have complied myself. I have made submissions to the IPO as well.
The political scientist argues that from the onset, the IPO Act has been caught up in political warfare.
It was always something as a source of much political play, although in reality some may have presented it as an institution of good governance and an institution of democracy, whereby the people could hold the leaders accountable. We never had an institution before where you could actually, any Joe Blow could summon the Prime Minister of this land to answer questions in court. But the IPA was supposed to be this noble institution to do that. It still remains, but having had this genesis as a tool by some for persecution and a tool by some for prosecution, persecution of course suggesting that some persons wanted it to be a tool by which they could they could pursue persons whom they perceived to be corrupt.
Dr. Jajak agrees that the IPO Act is a tool for maintaining good governance, but he says he does not think its existence necessary.
I really wish we didn't have the IPO. We don't need the IPO. The troublesome public officers who exist, public officials, officers suggest public service officials a little broader, and it encompasses opposition as well. You know, we have ways of keeping them in check, you know. There are other institutions we can use to keep them in check. So that the IPO, all it simply did for us, well, apart from, of course, making Dominicans a little more aware of integrity in public office, was it just gave politicians another tool for them to, in some cases, I would say, very honestly, just bamboozle the people. Before the IPO, the Eugene Chance administration also had spoken about integrity in office, not necessarily an IPO, but integrity in office. And there were also little groups that were clamoring for integrity in office.
You're watching Channel 5 News. Stay tuned. We'll be right back.
M&J Covering is the producer of designed galvanized and galvalume in Dominica. They design to your specifications, color and length, 4 styles of galvanized and galvalume pre-painted roofing sheets as requested, and supply all your galvalume accessories. M&J Covering helps you control spending and reduce waste. At M&J Covering, they are also equipped to build your roof to precise standards anywhere on island. So come to M&J Covering at 1 Mile in Portsmouth or call 445-5001, 275-5003 today.
Thanks for staying with us. Relocation for some Pishley and Maranatha Square residents is on the cards for the government of Dominica. Pishley was declared a special disaster area following Tropical Storm Erika in August 2015, which left that community in a severely compromised state. Subsequent to the passage of Hurricane Maria in September 2017 and the extensive damage caused to the Pishley and Maranatha Square areas, relocation of some residents has been up for discussion.
Pishley window requires lots of work. Apart from the main road leading to Granby passing through Pishley, we also are thinking of relocating a few of the residents, especially those in the immediate path of the river. So what would have happened is, I'm sure you know, there was a Petrocasa component to the Bell Bishop settlement that was being funded by Venezuela. But because of all the issues with Venezuela, this project was in a standstill. But Maria would have also completely destroyed this Petrocasa. So MMC, that's the Montreal consultant company, currently constructing the Bell Bishop for Petit Savan, would have committed into building these new concrete modern houses in the area where the Petrocasas once were. And that would be used to relocate the Maranatha Square residents and also other residents from Pishley and throughout the rest of the constituency that will have to move. That would be in immediate path of danger.
As regards the community of Petit Savan, which had also been declared a special disaster area post-Tropical Storm Erika, some residents had remained there until and after Hurricane Maria, despite mass evacuation by the government in 2015 and numerous warnings that the area is no longer safe or suitable for living.
Arguably, Petit Savan is probably one of the most vulnerable, susceptible communities or areas in the country that we see it as an opportunity also to really spring back from the ashes, like the legendary Phoenix, you know, to really build back, build resilient homes, resilient communities, etc. There are a few of them. I guess people have the reasons, you know, why. Really, it's not something really I'm prepared to get into. People have the reason why they want to live or not live. We have told them that it's not a safe place. So I guess people are willing to take the chances, and I'm pretty sure, in spite of what you would have heard, that quite a few new slides came down, you know, during Maria, and homes destroyed, etc. So I think Maria even exposed Petit Savan, the vulnerability of Petit Savan a bit more.
The Bath Estate Community Center is being retrofitted to accommodate displaced people who are still seeking shelter at the Roseau Primary School building. This has caused the school to shift classes to the Teachers College building at Bath Estate. The Ministry of Social Services is attempting to have the displaced residents vacate the school's building by the week's end.
We're able to help 1 or 2 to get back into their homes after, but we still have some people in shelter, like the Roseau Primary School, for example, where we are retrofitting the Buffett State Community Center to put them there. This has taken a little while, but I'm hoping that by the end of this week, we will have finished that process to get people out. We had to retrofit that center because it was like a communal area, but you have elderly with people with children, and so we had to partition that area so that we can accommodate these people. And maybe we'll be doing the mopping up services. We'll work in collaboration, and it's a collaborative effort, and housing has been there with us tete-a-tete, and we've been working together quite well to accommodate these people. It's not easy.
The resumption of classes at several schools was delayed since displaced people were using the schools as shelters.
As you may be aware, that we had to rush and build some longhouses for these people so that the children could get back to schools. So we successfully completed that aspect and moved the people from grammar school. We had some people still in schools in Trafalgar. We have been able now to get a house and place this family of 9 in this building. The RDPS Portsmouth area, school back in session. So mostly all the schools are back, except maybe for the Roseau Primary School.
Danielle describes it as trying and testing moments as her ministry provides post-disaster relief to the public.
Social services has been at the center of providing for people shelters, taking care of the vulnerable, and that is our role. And in spite of our limited number of staff members, we've been coping and doing the best that we can. And I have to say thank you to all the officers, Mr. Toussaint, who has been on the ball from day one, and all the DDOs who have been there helping, and in general the staff of the Social Services Department, Permanent Secretary, Mrs. Helen Roy, who spent all the way from Pennville, living in Pennville, and they all had their compromises with their houses and things, but they were willing and they came in. And I think we are very grateful for that. And so it's been trying times.
And 8 producer groups around the country have benefited from a joint donation of tools and equipment from CARDI and ICA. Andrea Louis has that story.
The Caribbean Agricultural Research and Development Institute, CARDI, and the Inter-American Institute for Cooperation on Agriculture, ICA, made the donation on Wednesday to assist producer groups severely affected by Hurricane Maria. CARDI's local representative said his institution is committed to helping small farmer groups develop climate-resilient techniques to ensure food security.
As we are well aware, our agriculture systems are dominated by smallholder farmers, and who, because of the inherent characteristics of the farming systems, have a low level of resilience, making them very vulnerable to extreme weather events. This high vulnerability, it directly and indirectly affects the levels of production, the cost of production, competitiveness, and ultimately livelihoods. And so in keeping with our motto, improving lives for agriculture research, CARDI is doubling its efforts to partner with national, regional, and international bodies to identify approaches, technologies, and best practices that will support and build adaptive capacity of farmers to climate variability and change.
Technical specialist with ICA, Kent Copel, says the institution has 2 flagship projects geared at helping small producer groups post-Hurricane Maria.
ICA support to the recovery and rehabilitation of the agricultural sector post the passage of Hurricane Maria was achieved through its various technical instruments. We have various technical instruments by which we offer our technical cooperation, and those interventions that we actually use in terms of supporting the producer groups is the flagship projects, which mainly is the Farm and Family flagship project, as well as the Agricultural Chains flagship project, a rapid response action, as well as the ICA CARDI externally funded project. Staff from the ICA member states, and something that I like to highlight, contributed to a humanitarian aid in which a sum of over $11,000, and that is not ICA, but the staff of ICA made a donation, and it was really to support our staff in Dominica However, we use that money to support our producer groups.
The groups which benefited from the donation were the Bells Farmers Group, Warner Farmers Group, Soul Cooperative, Cochrane Farmers Group, Beekeepers Cooperative, Northeast Agricultural Women Movement, Dalis Toloma Group, and the 4-H Club. Permanent Secretary in the Ministry of Agriculture commended the two institutions for their help in getting Dominica's agriculture sector back on its feet.
The Ministry of Agriculture continues to rebuild. We know the destructive nature of the storm, and while we rebuild, all the partners, all the assistance that we can get from respective agencies, we would like to welcome it. We have to welcome it as we try to rebuild. I see you have paid a particular focus on groups, and we also as a ministry want to welcome that approach. We cannot always meet individuals, but as groups we can really make a difference in the rural communities in particular.
Also at Wednesday's ceremony, a check in the amount of $58,775 was presented to the Ministry of Agriculture to make payments for equipment received from the OECS Support Initiative. Andrea Louis, Channel 5 News.
That's news. Your sports highlights next with Kenny Williams.
Rudolph Thomas Enterprise in Portsmouth, your suppliers of building materials and hardware products. Over 20 years experience in the business. Rudolph Thomas has lumber and plywood, galvanized and fence pipe. Check out Rudolph Thomas for ceramic and vinyl floor and wall tiles, nails, nuts and bolts, paint and painting supplies. And check out their line of electrical and hand tools. Go now to Rudolph Thomas on 1240 Bay Street in Portsmouth.
First up, West Indies A led by 291 runs with 6 wickets down at the end of day 2 of the third unofficial test against England Lions on Tuesday. Resuming on 20 without loss, England was bowled out for 102 in 54.1 overs. Hasib Hamid was their only batsman of note with 48. A ball in the hand of Jamil Warrican spelled trouble for Lions when he took 6 wickets for 33 runs. Rakeem Cornwall helped finish things off with 3 for 46. In a second innings reply, West Indies ended the day's play on 157 for the loss of 4 wickets after 45 overs. Shamar Brooks added 37, while Jamar Hamilton closely supported with 36 to lift the score. Dominic Best picked up 3 for 45 for Lions. The final scores at the end of the second day's play: West Indies A 236 and 157 for 4 after 45 overs, England Lions 102. Next up, there were mixed results for schools in the Secondary Schools Volleyball Championship on Tuesday, beginning with a clash between the Portsmouth and Isaiah Thomas Secondary Schools at Benjamin's Park, where ITSS won 3-2 against the home team. PSS dominated the first set to score 25 against ITSS 18. However, they went down to the visitors 17-25 in set 2. In the third set, PSS edged out ITSS 25-21. To be 2 sets up. However, the tables turned in the fourth set when ITSS took that round 25-17. The game came down to the wire, where ITSS won the fifth and final set 11-15. With this victory, ITSS has booked a spot in the semi-finals. Meantime, the male ITSS team was not so lucky and went down to PSS 3-2 in the following game. ITSS edged out PSS 20-25 in the first round, but lost the second 25-17. ITSS found renewed vigor to win the third 24-26, but lost the remaining sets 25-16 and 16-14. With this win, PSS has qualified for the semi-finals. The semis for the male and female categories are scheduled for March 7. We continue with this item where one local cyclist admits the recent race series are doing well for his preparation for the 2018 OECS Cycling Championship carded for Dominica later this year. Bram Sanderson was at the time responding to a question about the increased competitiveness in road races. He cited the example of Sunday's competition where he believed he could have had a better showing were it not for mechanical issues.
And it was supposed to end even more spectacular because of my shoes and my gears clipping at the end, we couldn't have a close finish. It was supposed to be much more tighter than that. But hats and hats, it's a sprint race, so every time somebody attacks, the next person follows the wheel, then the next person drafts behind the other person. So it's kind of easier for the people at the back of the first rider. So whenever someone attacks, you have to try to keep up to that interval, and nobody wants to work. So every time I would attack, they would follow my wheel, then they wouldn't want to take a turn. So we would go slow, then fast, slow, then fast. So it was fun. It's like a time trial. So you have to pace yourself. In every lap, I try to be consistent, at least faster or maybe a couple seconds behind. And what happened is, as I go through the rounds, I keep on feeling fresher and better, you know, drinking water timely. So I love to pursue. Like whenever I'm at the back, it interests me. I'm fuel. Adversity is what fuels me to drive forward. So knowing I'm at the back, that's the race for me, you know. I like to see how my body is coming back because from the first race to now, I feel much, much better.
Sanderson and the other local cyclists will get another chance to test their readiness for the 2018 OECS Cycling Championship when they compete in a road race from Woodbridge Bay to Layu and back on Sunday. And moving on to primary school sports, we can tell you that defending champions Grand Forks Primary took an early lead at the end of day one of the school's competition on Tuesday. In the Southeast District, Grand Forks walked away with 4 points from 2 games played, followed by San Sauver Primary with 3 points from 1 game. Casa Bruce Primary ended the day with 1 point from 2 games. Seneca Primary School finished in the cellar position with 0 points from 1 match. Dequan Francis of Grand Forks Primary was the top goal scorer with a brace and a hat-trick, a total of 5 goals from 2 matches. Day 2 of the competition is carded for Thursday with the first match at Casa Bruce Playing Field from 2 p.m. That's all the sporting highlights for now. I am Kenny Williams. Join us next time.
To end the news, the headlines again. Farmers and fisher folks told post-disaster relief funds is not compensation for losses. Canadian University recognizes Dr. Gerard Jajak for thesis on IPO Act. And plans afoot to relocate displaced people at Roseau Primary School. Feel free to contact us at news@marpin2k4.com. You can also access our past newscasts on our YouTube channel. On behalf of the entire production team, I am Idona Jean Baptiste. Thanks for watching. Join us again tomorrow.